Hello everyone, welcome to another weekly video. So, I want to talk to you today about something personal, literally. It is about a shift in my personality. It's not a massive shift. It's kind of subtle, and it's been happening over the past 2 years, I think. And I'm just noticing now how different I am becoming from who I used to be and how it kind of feels a little unsettling. And it's just several things happening at once. Like, okay, who I was as a child and as growing up from like young child to teenager, that whole period, I was very sensitive. I was scared of people who had a big mouth, and I was scared of standing up for myself. I was very easily rattled. I was that quiet, sweet, sensitive girl in the back of the class. Yeah, that was me. Um, and I was. It wasn't that I was shy, because I wasn't. I was just afraid of what people would do to me if I spoke up too much, because I was being bullied, because I was an easy target. So that kind of makes it normal to kind of be afraid. But on top of that, the reason that I was an easy target is because I was just so sensitive and sweet and just wanting everyone to be happy and wanting everyone to like me. And just because I was so sensitive, I was easily rattled by things that didn't make sense to me. And children are harsh, and people can be harsh, and the world can be harsh. And I just didn't get it. I did not understand why or how or when it was going to end. And I was this happy go lucky, sweet, innocent child, just living and doing my thing. And people didn't really seem to appreciate it back then. So I became this introverted, quiet little girl. Unless I was at home. When I was at home, I was happy and playing and in my fantasy world. And I always had this huge fantasy world, right? And I was just doing my thing. But in social interactions, I was so scared and yeah, just that. A little insecure, a little incredibly sweet and incredibly kind and incredibly caring. But just, I made myself very small. And people telling me in later years to stand up for myself, that the world was going to run over me, that I was too sweet for my own good and all that, that didn't really help either. So I have been that person for a very, very long time. That has been the person that I've known for all the years that I've developed who I was. And it wasn't until maybe like 10 years ago that I kind of learned about my own value, about my own worth, about that being sweet and being sensitive could actually be a good thing. It was around that time that I learned about my ADD, so I learned to really stand in that power and to really embrace who I was as a person instead of fearing it. So that was kind of in between moment where I had some eye-opening moments. But it hasn't been unless until like the last 2 years, I think, that I made a shift that happened where I speak out much easier, where I stand up for myself much easier, where I set my boundaries much easier, where I will actually stand up for what I believe in, which back then I would have never dared to do, because what if they shoot me down? What if I start crying? It's just, and right now if I speak out, I honestly don't care if I cry. I will just keep speaking out. I will keep speaking my mind. I will keep standing up for what I believe is right and for what is best for me and for what is best for the people I care about. And look, I've just learned to be almost a little stronger and a little fiercer than I used to be. And it's this fierceness that I don't quite recognize yet. I have the ability to get incredibly pissed off incredibly soon and to really, really give it to someone, to really get upset. And others will know that I mean it, and others will back up when I do that. And I didn't know I had that in me, let alone that I was able to do that. And in the past years, I've kind of just learned to consciously use that to create some skills where I can get my adrenaline up, where I can get myself to a state where I can be firm, direct, no nonsense, no bullshit, and just be in someone's face without fear of their reaction. And at that moment, I don't feel responsible for what they're going to feel. Which that used to hold me back for ages. I was so afraid of hurting someone else's feelings. And in the meantime, I was absolutely willing to constantly hurt my own feelings. And at some point, I kind of learned, yeah, no, we're not going to do that anymore. My feelings matter and my feelings should matter to me. So if you are going to cross my boundaries, I am no longer going to stand by and let it happen. I am going to tell you to stop doing that. And if you're not willing to do that, I'm going to tell you very, very clearly to stop doing that and not give a flying fuck about what you think or feel about that, because these are my boundaries. And that's just something that kind of happened in the past few years, and I've been able to do that much easier and much more natural. But that is so not who I used to be. So it's like, it feels like an in-between place where that kind of harsher but also more powerful part of myself hasn't yet combined perfectly with the sensitive, sweet, caring side of myself. And it's like they're starting to come together, but it just doesn't feel natural yet. And it's just a very weird place to be in. It's amazing. I mean, it's this place of exploration and searching, and it's scary and it's unsettling, but it's also exciting because something good is going to come out of it, and I can see where it's going. I can see that at the end of this particular journey, I'm going to be able to keep that core sensitivity and love and caring and kindness, but I'm also going to be able to stand up for myself and to take responsibility for what I find important and to really set my boundaries and to just be fierce if I have to be, without being held back by fear. And that is where this is going. It's not quite there yet. So now I have these two sides of myself that are slowly coming together, but they haven't melted yet. And so it's still trying to figure itself out. So now when that happens, part of me is like, oh my gosh, can I do this? And is it not going to bite me in the ass? And what if someone says something bad in return? And what if I get all sensitive about it? And what if this is not who I really am? And then the other side of me is like, no, you need this. I can do this. I am doing this. This is a process. Just go for it. You deserve to stand up for yourself. You deserve to claim what's yours. You deserve to be and feel safe and feel strong. And it's those two sides. You can see how that's kind of odd, right? But like I said, it is a very fun journey. It's terrifying and very unsettling, but it's also very exciting and fun and transformative. And because I can see where it's going, it's safe, even though it doesn't always feel like it. Like if I'm in a situation where something asks of me to either stand up for myself and go face a confrontation because I am hurt. 5 years ago, I would have 100% gone with getting hurt and not being confrontational. Easy choice because I don't like confrontation. I don't like what it does to me. I don't like what it does to my energy. I don't like how it feels. I don't feel safe trusting myself to be able to deal with confrontation. So I would just say, you know what? It's not worth it. My feelings might be hurt, but it's not worth getting into this discomfort zone. No, thank you. I'll just sit quietly and, you know, you know safe and sound behind my little wall of, I'm okay, really. When in reality, I'm not okay. So I have done that for basically all my life. And now, for the first time, something has sparked where I might be terrified of the confrontation because it feels so unnatural to me. But the chances of me actually doing that are a lot higher now, even though I will literally be shaking and my voice will be quivering and all that. But I will still do it because it doesn't feel right to allow someone else to hurt me anymore. If I let someone else hurt me and not confront them about it, not literally setting my boundary in their face, then it just feels like I'm kind of diminishing myself. And I'm beyond that at this point. So I will have that confrontation. It's just not comfortable yet. It's not easy. I don't want it to be easy. I don't want it to be comfortable because I still want it to be a conscious decision, and I don't think it'll ever be comfortable for me just because of like my personality traits on the baseline of it. But I would like it to be at a stage where I no longer physically shake or when my voice no longer cracks when I confront someone. I would love to be a little more at ease with knowing why I do what I do and just being able to say, listen, stop. You don't get to do this to me. You don't get to do this, period. Stop doing what you're doing right now, please. And I know that I'm working towards that, but I'm not there yet. And it's a thing. That's why I call it an in-between moment, because they are miles apart, right? There's absolutely no confrontation possible, and I'm gonna confront it because I'm worth it. I mean, it's kind of hard for those two things to meet. And I'm learning, but it's not easy. It is, like I said, it's unsettling. It really is. And some of him, like, was I too harsh? Should I have done that? Could I have done it differently? And that's this whole like transformation thing. And it's like I said, it's a good thing. It is. But it is different from what I used to be. Another thing that I thought was interesting, back in the days, I used to do these Myers-Briggs tests, right? It's a personality test. You have 6 personality types. And every single time I used to be an ENFP, if I'm not mistaken, yes, which is the campaigner, which means that on the basis I am extroverted more than introverted, and that I find intuition quite important. I like intuition more than trusting my physical senses. And the F, let's say that's the E and the N. The F is for thinking versus feeling. I am most definitely more a feeling person than anything. I like to analyze, but when it comes to making decisions, I trust my feelings easier. I want people to feel okay. I want myself to feel okay. I'm very, like I said, I'm a sensitive person, so this feeling thing makes sense. And then there is the judging versus perceiving, and the ENFP means that I'm more of a perceiving person than a judge. So I'm more like just observing and watching and not, oh, what do I think of it? Right, so ENFP, I used to think that I was more extroverted than introverted. And it makes sense because even though I'm pretty reserved and I like to be on my own, when I am in a place where I feel comfortable, I don't mind being the center of attention. Like, if I'm in the pub and there's all these people that I know, I will go from person to person, I will introduce myself, I will so easily meet new people and just get along with them. I will dance in the middle of the dance floor, never mind when anyone thinks. I will sing and not mind what people think about me. I will pick up a microphone and give a speech without any preparation. And I thought that that made me an extrovert. But that might just be there's like one version. That's like my creative side. It's like that. But every other side of me is introverted. Every other. I love, love, love to be alone. And after a day of interacting with people, I'm not filled with energy, I am drained of energy. So I may have extroverted skills, and I may like to show what I can do. But at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. And I need so much time to recuperate from that. So I've always thought that I was an extrovert because of that. But with COVID and with being at a job where I've been challenged to change, and where I've been challenged to, be what I said, be more confrontational and be able to deal with that more. I've also found that I really, really, really appreciate me time, and that I actually, when a situation like that arises, I'm just as happy standing back and just watching it happen and interacting with several people and then watching it happen again. So, with this whole change of personality, also came a change of the way I now answer the Myers-Briggs questions. Because I've answered the questions on two different tests, and on one of them I became an INFP, and on the other one I became an INFJ. So the N and the F are still the same, so the intuition and feeling, that's the same. But the extrovert part is completely out of it. Both times there was an introvertedness there. And one of them was like Jade and more judging, which kind of makes sense since I am learning to trust judgment more instead of just standing back and watching. And the other time it was like with the INFP, still the watching part. So it is so funny to see that out of all the things that change, even though I've become more extroverted in actual communication, the way I now perceive myself is to be a more introverted person because it takes so much energy out of me to actually confront someone, to actually stand up for myself. I've learned that I really like that alone time. I really like to not be around crowds too much, to not deal with people's bullshit too much, because it takes so much out of me to actually confront people, to actually deal with that. So it's during this whole moment of self-exploration that actually shifted as well. And I think that's just so entertaining to see that and to just try to piece it all together. So yeah, for that whole INFJ, INFP, ENFP, and ENFJ. They are all still in the same group. Like if you look up Myers-Briggs personality test, they are the green personalities. And I have now done the test several times, and 3 out of 4 of those personalities are checked off. So that's the INFP, which is the advocate, which is someone who will stand up for others and you know stand up for what they believe in and to have a well-reasoned arguments. That's the INFJ, and the INFP is the mediator, the person who finds the in-between, who figures out like what do you want, let's find the middle ground. That sounds pretty much me, to be honest. The ENFP, I've been that one for years, which is the campaign, like the enthusiastic, here we go, we can do it, let's stand up for what we believe in and have a good time doing it, raise the moral of the people and all that. The only one that I haven't tested that yet is the ENFJ, which is the protagonist. So that's kind of like the one who leads, the one who gives the right example and just shows like, listen, this is what we need to do. And that just, I think that's the part that doesn't really fit me. I mean, it could maybe at some point, but right now I'm just not that. So it does make sense that in this group of what they call the diplomatic versions of people are intuitive and feeling at the basis. It makes sense that those other 3 I've tested at that, just not this one. So yeah, 3 out of 4 from the diplomat section of the Myers-Briggs test. I guess that intuition and that feeling is my basis. And that makes perfect sense because I am a very intuitive, a very sensitive person. So at least that hasn't changed. And I don't think that that is going to change ever. So I kind of like that. And whatever else is going to change about my personality, we are just going to have to wait and see. And I'm just really curious if my personality shift is going in the direction that I think it is. I'll let you know in a few months or a few years and tell you how it's going then. For now, I am just going to keep going on my happy little journey. And yeah, let's see where it ends up. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day and a great week and see you in the next one. Bye.